so I actually thought this chapter of One Piece was really good because it was a massive information dump. You got info for days out of this chapter. I really like the cover page. Personally, I think there's more evidence to suggest that Luffy will end up with Nami, but this was a nice shout out to the Luffy and Boa shippers there. It's funny, you know, I like when Boa fangirls over Luffy, so obviously it would make sense that you would put Luffy's bounty poster like a billboard in Amazon Lily. We start off with Sanji, and honestly, I thought this was one of the most emotional scenes we've gotten in a while now. Yeah, from recent chapters, it's one of the most emotional scenes because he's super frustrated. He thinks back to Zeph and his lesson about not using those hands for fighting because they're precious and they should only be used for cooking for people that he cares about, right? Or for cooking in general. And then he yells out, and we get this huge like panoramic view of the Germa 66 kingdom. He's super frustrated, and I think that's really cool because like Sanji, for the most part, one of the things that makes Sanji who he is that he remains cool in difficult situations. He just grabs his smoke, he's like, but in this case, like you really see that he's super frustrated and about to break down because he's just like, what do I do? What do I do? He sacrificed himself to save his friends and now he can't do anything. So Reiju, I'm still disappointed in Reiju, but I do think that Oda can find a way to make her character redeemable if he really wants to. There's three ways I think he could do it. Number one, she cures somebody from the Straw Hats from being poisoned to death. Like she did with Luffy. Another one is that we find out something about Reiju in Sanji's flashback that we didn't know about her that makes her more of a sympathetic character. And the third one is that she finds a way to help Sanji to get those keys. Then we go to Pedro and Brook and we find out two main things. The first of which I think is an absolute fucking lie. The whole thing with Jinbei about the fact that at first he was really ballsy and was like, yeah man, or Big Mom, I'm leaving your crew. And then I guess he spun the roulette, the wheel, and it landed on something that he didn't like. And then he's like, oh shit, maybe I should, never mind, I'm not leaving. I think that's total bullshit. Like, we're talking about Jinbei here, like the guy who stood in front of Akainu and took a punch to the chest for Luffy. He wouldn't have done that. He just wouldn't have done that. So I still think that he wanted to leave. And I guess Big Mom is manipulating the media to make the rest of the kingdom or the rest of Whole Cake Island think that, you know, Jinbei's a total wuss, which he's not. So that's just fucking obvious. Just because you read it in the papers doesn't mean it's true. In fact, I actually think Jinbei is playing a very important role in this chapter off screen. And that's when Capone shoots Peckham's. In One Piece, it's well established that unless you see somebody like actually die, or you see it in a flashback, or something like Oda stresses the fact that they're actually dead, the character is pretty much not dead. You know, you would have to have like a white beard or an AC for that to happen. Because even Pell survived a nuke, alright? So if Pell can survive a nuke, I'm pretty sure Peckham's can survive a shot. So Capone shoots Peckham's and he falls into the water. Now that's the problem there because Peckham's is a devil fruit user and we know that if he falls he's going to drown. However, the water is filled with sharks, and if you look at the way that the sharks are drawn, they have polka dots. And polka dots, to me, that's like a reference to like the whale shark species, which we know Jinbei can control whale sharks. Not only that, but in previous chapters, we know that the Jinbei pirates, or you know, the sun pirates, or whatever you want to call them, are underwater. They're nearby. So I'm pretty sure that's how Peckham's is going to be saved. Going back to Pedro and Brook, right? We find out that Pudding is in fact being held up. So the fact that she said, or it looks like she lied about meeting them at the coast, that's a little bit more like understandable now because Tamago is there with her and he's like forcing her to pick a dress and all this shit. Not only that, but they know pretty much like the whereabouts of the Straw Hats. They know who's with them. They even have like a Pedro and Carrot drawing and shit. I thought that was really good. It kind of made me think like, wait, so is Oda serious about incorporating them into the crew? Because it's like, I mean, when you see those bounty posters line up, it's like, well, that's what I thought. Anyway, in terms of like how Big Mom gathers her intel, if you pay attention, there's this one panel where Brook is talking to Pedro, and they're in the background, and in the foreground, we see two flowers with faces and shit. So I'm guessing that that's the way that Big Mom is able to know everything that goes on, all right? With those like inanimate fucking objects that shouldn't be alive and have faces. I think they're all connected to her, and they actually tell her what's up. Another thing this chapter confirms is the fact that Pudding and Sanji have indeed met in real life. Because inside of the dress shop, Pudding says something like, we've only met like just one time, or we've only met once. So the Straw Hats aren't around to hear that, so there would be absolutely no point for her to be lying about that in that context. Another thing is that, well, we go to Capone and we find that he's actually a father, not just figuratively, but literally. He's a father. He has a baby with the Lola look-alike. And if you look at the baby's design, I think it's funny because he has like a beard coming in. He even has a cigarette and shit, so I thought that was really funny. And I like Capone. Like, whenever I see a supernova, I can't help but get excited about it. I think they're really good characters, and I love their designs. You can act like a man. I'm gonna have to shoot you in front of my little boy. So he shoots Peckham, and there's something very interesting that Peckham says before he actually gets shot. He says, "You underestimating Mama will be your downfall." Why would Capone be underestimating Big Mom? I don't know. Unless he's actually planning to, to betray her at some point. I don't know. That's really weird. Speaking of Capone, he actually gave me an idea. So, you know how in this chapter it's revealed that Big Mom's big booty dream is to be able to sit at a table and share a meal with her family, with her sons and daughters, right? But in order to do that, she's asking Caesar to make her family a bunch of giants. But then I thought, wait, hold on. If Capone works under her, couldn't Capone's ability... You know how Capone has the ability to shrink people and have them like within, his body fortress or whatever? Couldn't he do that to Big Mom and her daughters and sons to be able to, dine, at a table inside of him? It just seems kind of hard to believe that with all the crazy abilities in the world of One Piece, there has to be another way for Big Mom's dream to come true other than having Caesar develop more drugs. Because for one, we know the drugs don't work. The test subjects were all kids and they went fucking crazy. They had really bad side effects. Not only that, but so Caesar's just like, he gave up. He's like, fuck this shit. Like, I'll just spend all this money on whoring out myself and just, getting some booze. So whores and booze for Caesar. That's a pretty nice investment. And then another thing is we know that Tashigi and Smoker are taking the kids to go see Vegapunk so that they can be healed or the side effects can be reduced. So I'm wondering, even with the drug, like maybe when Vegapunk comes into the picture, maybe Vegapunk has developed some type of pill that allows you to get bigger without actually going through the side effects of going fucking crazy, which, by the way, Big Mom is already kind of doing. So maybe that's how Big Mom got big in the first place, because she gets her craving and then she goes absolutely fucking crazy, all right? Just like the kids in Punk Hazard. So, by the way, she made another Punk Hazard factory in Whole Cake Island made out of candy, and Caesar's gonna have to work. He's going to put in the work for sure. He has to come up with something. So either he develops the drug or he finds a way of escaping. Also kind of disappointed in the fact that he was ready to sell out Luffy and Law almost immediately to save his own skin. Because I thought that he had changed when he was, not entirely, but a little when he helped Chopper, develop the antidote for the minks that were poisoned in Zou. Then again, Sanji did leave him inside of a cage. So, and he's going to be supervised by this guy called Pero, who is the Minister of Candy, and he's the One Piece version of Majin Buu. He can turn you into candy, and that's exactly what's going to happen to Caesar if he doesn't deliver. And he has his heart. The final part of the chapter, I honestly thought it came out of fucking nowhere. But it's also becoming very obvious that this is something that Oda has to have in this arc in order to stop Luffy from getting to the center of the conflict of the story too soon. So he's going around in obviously none of those were the real Nami or any, the only person that is there that's authentic is Luffy. Because I'm even skeptical about the giant in the ground, because if you remember, the giant, the last time we saw him, he actually had a spear in the back of his head, right? And he was asking people to remove it. So I didn't see the spear in this copy of the giant, so I don't know what the hell's going on. There's obviously not just an illusion force, but a multiplication effect going on there. And it's not only just, Nami and Carrot and Chopper, it's also Pudding and Sanji. We still don't know what happened to the real Nami, who the last time we saw was about to get her ass shredded by Madame Brûlée. That being said, like I said, I thought it was a very informative chapter, very interesting. I think the chapter kind of gave us a time frame for how long this arc should take, because Caesar has 2 weeks. All right, and I'm saying this because a lot of people were expecting this arc to be a short one. I don't think so. It's not beginning to feel like a short arc. There's just too many individual subplots that need to be addressed. So it's definitely going to be lengthy. Like we have Jinbei, we have the forest, we have the development of the drugs, we have Sanji and the Vince smokes, we have the wedding, okay, pudding, all that stuff. So it's going to take a while. And that's why that's why One Piece is currently 65% done. I can totally see why it's at that mark. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you did. I'd appreciate that. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't for more One Piece reviews. Comment down below with your thoughts. Thank you guys. Bye.